Okay, let's call this meeting to order if you could, please. First order of business would be the minutes from the October 5th meeting. This was mailed to the magistrates. Any corrections or changes to the minutes, guys? I did not find any.
None, no.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Keith Metcalf,
I'll second.
second by Gary. Any further discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry. Next are your bills, additional bills, and your transfers. On the regular bills list, the park overlay at the baseball field, the parking area. You notice that down at the bottom, the Zucker software agreement and the other annual software agreement right at $20,000. It eats up a lot of money, doesn't it, Raymond? That's mostly for the sheriff and jail and everybody kind of combined, I guess.
That's their CAD system.
Yeah. Then,
Those LED bulbs are quite expensive, aren't they?
oh yeah.
Yeah, but we needed to.
Significant amount of salt has come in, $42,000 worth. There's a Gilkey Run Road, blacktop under the flex funds. You've got a big road, long road. I don't know what, Mago hasn't done your flex funds yet, haven't they? Thomas Lane? Not Thomas, but just, no, what's the other one? He's got one.
I got one
Auto
too.
shop.
Potty shop.
We're waiting for the funds.
No, but no, there's something else that you got. Yeah, but who got the other on the flex? Okay, anyway, I thought you had
Discretionary.
Wire Lane or Thomas Lane?
Thomas. Thomas should be.
Thomas, yeah. I'll check on it. But that's a big one. That's about $70-some thousand out of that flex. Discretionary, still haven't heard anything at all.
Everybody's got theirs.
Yeah.
You need to get on the phone.
Patience is a virtue, Keith.
Maybe. Winter's coming, they won't stick as good.
Well, we're not gonna, you're about to wind up anyway. You get it today, you still will get the roads done. Eric and I hate, don't worry, he was in my office last week a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
And notice the tractor, the John Deere tractor came in.
Well, it's in just now, the invoice.
The invoice, yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
I seen it down in Jeff's district yesterday on 245.
Yeah, so does
It's the
that,
right color, Bernard, right?
And high water.
Is that
high ground out there?
It was in high ground, yeah.
is that amount, is that minus, insurance money that you got?
No, that's
That's the
the
total.
That's the total
that's the
amount.
total. We already got the insurance proceeds right
It was about
there.
40,000. About 35,000, so I can't remember exactly. It's been
So
months
you take the
ago.
insurance money off that.
Gotcha.
Entertain a motion to approve the bills and transfers, please. And additional bills. Motion been made by Bernard Ice. Second by Jeff Lear. All approved, say aye. Disapprove? And motion will carry.
Did you add transfers in that?
Uh-huh. I remembered this time.
Okay.
Next would be the, an internet grant resolution. City of Bardstown's applying for some additional funds out of the state pot of internet funds to go along with some of our money. I emailed you guys a copy of that probably a week or so ago. You got any information to pass out there?
I've got what the grant's gonna cover, basically, the projects that
Yeah.
the city of Bardstown said they would like to look at.
I put together this resolution this morning, guys, to basically outline. I've got a copy of Brad myself. To outline what we're asking to do, whereas the city of Bardstown has applied for a grant to further expand broadband in Nelson County to the unserved and underserved citizens, whereas Nelson County received funding from the American Rescue Plan Act to expand broadband to rural parts of the county. Therefore, in partnership with the city of Bardstown, we as a fiscal court endorse their grant application for the funding and further commit a portion of the county ARPA money, our ARPA funds, to assist in facilitating the said project. Basically, we haven't come up with an amount yet. You guys will further, approve an amount down the road. Basically, we just want to endorse their application. Now, the state grant is a 50-50 match. So if they get $1 million, we have to put up $1 million. Follow what I'm saying?
We as
No,
both City of Bardstown and Fiscal Court?
We, as a county, will match whatever the state puts up.
So we as
As a
Fiscal
county,
Court?
yeah, fiscal court. And the city's agreed to do their passing number. You know, Brad, you explain the passing numbers.
So they've got like an internal cost that they know they typically, if they were gonna build it on their own, without funding, they know a dollar amount that they would apply towards a project, is what he's getting at. So, if that's what your question is, I think you're asking, is the city of Bardstown gonna help participate in the funding? Is that correct?
In the $1 million funding, yeah, are they gonna put up half of it if we got
Not
an
a
actual
half, I don't know
thing?
what it will be.
But they will
We're
put
just
up
not to
something.
that point yet.
Well, a lot of these roads, Brad, was in the first internet, funding that you had.
That's the same thing.
Same thing,
Same
Pete.
thing we're sharing.
Well, we already got that money, why do we?
What do you mean?
Well, we're trying to reduce the amount of the ARPA money by getting some extra state money.
They're applying for,
It's a state grant that Andy put on extra, that Brashear put on extra.
Okay, but we already had
Instead of funding it all, they'll do 50-50 match, the state will, so we're gonna apply.
Make our money go further here, using the state money. But the
So-
city's the applicant. The person that's in the internet business has to be the applicant.
Does that make sense?
so what's your question, Steve? I wanna make sure.
My question is, on that thing that you put out the other day, you had so much for this, so much for water
Oh,
line,
the-
2.5
I put that
million
out.
for internet.
That's
Yeah,
him.
yeah, that's in that 2.5 million. You're
Okay,
looking at
but
probably
these
$1 million.
roads was in that 2.5 million, so now you're asking for extra money.
No, that includes, these roads are in that. We're trying to
So why
fund,
are we getting an extra grant if we already had the?
because you want to reduce the amount, I can make that another $1 million go somewhere else. More internet or
Instead
more
of using your
whatever.
ARP funds, you're using your state funds.
Pretty-
Basically, you're paying half of what it costs to build these unserved areas. Whether if they didn't have that state grant available, you'd be paying the whole amount.
Whole amount.
Yeah, but I'm losing it somewhere, I don't know where I'm losing that, but 2.5 is what you had for this.
Yeah, 2.5 is just a budgeted item.
Okay,
For
so
broadband.
now, you're saying you're gonna pull $1 million from that 2.5 to.
To match $1 million that we're gonna get from the state to do these projects. See, I got the amount here.
Help me out there, Jeff, what am I doing wrong?
Here, you got it
If
right
we
here.
already got
You got it right
2.5
here.
million.
Look at the total cost.
Yeah,
That 2.5 million is gonna change to 1.5 million, and we get $1 million from the state. So the other $1 million goes into another project.
Yeah, you can use it for water.
Doesn't go
sewer,
away,
and
it
other
just
stuff.
goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
Asking for $1 million is what we're doing.
We don't know the exact amount.
And if
yet.
you
We
get
gotta
that
bid it.
million, then you've got that million
Yeah.
cloud somewhere else.
I know.
What he's really asked for today, in order to get this grant application in, which I think is October 24th,
24th deadline.
we have to agree, the city's already passed their resolution, we have to agree that we're committed to this project
Supporting the project.
in order to apply for that grant.
Typically, we wouldn't have money to do this if we hadn't had the American Rescue Act money. In many cases, we would just endorse a project just to support it.
Yes.
And the state requires that a lot of times.
Keith, I think, when I went to that training course with the Kentucky KIA stuff in it,
right.
way they explained it, man, this might help, is this is a government that's helping out an ISP. In this case, an internet service provider. In this particular case, that happens to be the city of Bardstown. You know, so if it was Windstream or AT&T or
Spectrum or-
any Spectrum.
That's where they was talking about that 10 this,
Yes, and that was-
you told me, you said, that's gonna be hard to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they want that, but I don't see how they're gonna get to do that.
Well, we'll see if that's really a mandate. I thought that was highly suggested, but he's talking about minimum.
Oh, I read the whole application.
Yeah, Jeff was very concerned just as soon as we walked out the door on this.
So let me ask you this about this project here. So these roads that you have listed here, this is well, if we draft a resolution on it, it's these roads and these roads only
At this point.
at this point, but they
Doesn't mean there won't be
For
others.
this grant.
for this
grant.
particular grant, okay.
Are we gonna
There
have
is,
control over it, or the city's gonna have control over it?
I don't want control on it. We're not internet business.
So, there's one thing here that I'm seeing on, over in my district, the Love Ridge is on there, and if I'm not mistaken, we've worked to get that one through, I think the city may have already built that one.
And
if it is, I'd like to submit a different road. maybe.
First place, we've got to identify any further roads.
Okay.
I've asked you guys individually to identify unserved areas in the internet business. So this is what the city and Brad,
This is what they provided for?
yeah, that's what they provided.
Mine
That
was south of
that they can
the bridge.
reasonably serve
All right.
at this
so
time.
if
We got to
vote
start
on-
somewhere.
If we vote on this resolution and that road's already been served, is that going to?
It just comes off of there.
All right.
Okay, so if we pass this resolution, we still have the authority to commit the portion that we want to?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
This is just
It's just-
matching funds. If we
That's all,
don't,
yeah.
if we don't match, then we don't get it.
yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, was we gonna have a say-so in it, or is the city of Bardstown got the total say-so in it?
I
What-
suspect we'll have a say-so.
It'd have to be cooperation.
You know, you can't just.
I don't want to say so on the internet. We're not in the internet's business.
Yeah, but we, as our constituents, vote for us, and they want internet to work from home. I mean, we just want, no, I don't want nothing to do with it.
No, that's not
think
what
we
I
need something to
said.
do.
I don't, once you get the grant and it's built, we're not in the business. It's like that Lowell water project we said we were gonna do. We're not in the water business.
To be
Yeah,
clear,
but it's,
this is only running internet down the road. This is not coming back to house.
right.
The cost does
You
not
gotta
include coming.
get to
back
point A to get point B.
Yeah, see, there may be some grant, hopefully, maybe come along with that, like the water line. I mean, you know, the water line run along the edge of the road, and the people's responsible to hook to the meter to their house.
You-
So I think this internet should be the same way. There's gonna be some
There'll be
that
some.
can't afford to
There'll be
do
some.
it, and hopefully there'll be some grants that will help with that.
So do you need a?
I need a motion
That's
to
what I'm
approve the
trying to get out.
resolution.
I waited till Keith got done.
I wasn't
And,
done,
you
but
know.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion for the resolution.
To approve it.
To approve the resolution for the cable internet.
I'd like to second that motion.
Amen. Thank you. Discussion.
Judge, I'm gonna abstain on these.
Okay.
I understand.
I don't,
That's
I mean, I have to face the game on these, so I'm gonna.
Roger that.
All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove, motion will carry. Let the record show, Jeff, abstain. Okay? All righty. Road Department report.
Okay, trim trees and brush on South Spring Loop and Quarry Loop in the past 2 weeks. We removed some, 3 dead ash trees on Quarry Lane, patched 2 areas of the road on Bowling Pike. We're currently repairing a ditch line and a couple of culverts on Eagle Pass. We rocked and graded the landfill haul roads and cleaned ditches as well out there. We patched 3 sections of roadway on Plum Run Road, just near that Gabion basket site. We trimmed trees on Hope Ridge Road, took care of that problem.
Thank you.
We repaired a shoulder on Tishner Lane in Fairfield, took care of that little area. And we repaired a culvert on Lawrenceburg Loop. This past, I think it was this past Friday, we performed our annual pre-season inspection for our snow equipment. We do that every year to make sure everything's going to be running right. We'll be doing a dry run this Thursday. We always get our guys to drive the roads when there's no snow and stuff to identify any obstacles or anything that might need attention before we're out there plowing snow and then run into a problem. Our mowing crew is currently in District 4 in the Highway 245 area. That's the 4th round. And one last thing, over the past couple of years, our 2 foremen, they've been attending classes in the Road Scholar and Road Master program through the University of Kentucky College of Engineering. These classes teach best practices in topics such as asphalt, paving, drainage, construction of concrete, snow and ice removal, traffic signs, etc. Paul Draper, he will be finishing up both of these, both his Road Scholar and Road Master program this week. And Chris Martin has completed the Road Scholar program, and he will be working to complete the Road Master program next year. Just wanted to acknowledge their achievements. It's a good program that the University of Kentucky offers, and glad to say that both guys have done well in that program.
That's it. I try to attend a lot of those classes. That's a very big accomplishment. Those are pretty, really informative too. You can learn a whole lot on them.
Some of them classes are tough.
You know, the roadmasters said that's a pretty good accomplishment there.
Lee, you got those already, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you did, yeah.
I've learned a lot from them, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Very soon, and just for the public notice, October 28th, we're opening the bids on the Woodlawn Bridge, and then we'll have to discuss how to move forward on that and bring it back to the court for y'all's review. Keith, you and I need to talk after court about D-Head. Your Army Corps of Engineers permit came in yesterday, so I need to finish up some specifics with you.
Can we do it Sunday? 20?
We need to talk about that. I can't get it in the paper that quick, no. I just can't.
But you can get his in the paper?
I did.
Can get mine?
Yes, sir.
We get things.
There's some specifics I need to talk to you about.
got the approval from Army Corps yesterday.
We get things rolling in District 2.
Just move on, please.
A lot of paving's going on, they did yours. I haven't had a chance to go look at, what's the one off of, Masden that we did? Thompson Donuts. I haven't had a chance to look at that, but I looked at the other ones, they look good. Jeff, they did a lot in your area, so they're finishing up on what we've issued a PO on. Close.
2 or 3 lonely ducks over here.
That's fine. These two lonely ducks we've talked about, you all's plan, they know exactly what the plan is. Waiting on the commissioner tonight.
Landfill solid waste report.
Thanks, Lee, for the help out. Grader Hall Road stuff is a big help. Our pavement out to landfill, we haven't paved in I don't know how long. It's been pretty rough. It's basically, we have 2 sections.
Can you give him a copy?
I have extra copies right here we can pass out.
He emailed.
Email it.
Yeah, you guys, anybody need a copy?
I noticed that, I don't know who your camera person was, John, but they sure got some real good, they shed some light on some real cracked areas.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of selling it.
I've worked for the county for 22 years. We've never paid out there.
Well, that's
Chip
back
seal
when
though,
they
didn't
made
we?
good blacktop.
Chip seal.
Yeah.
We've never paid.
So we chip seal, like especially the road going up the hill into the landfill. We've done that several times over the last 20 years, but Lee and I started, you doing the math, you start chip sealing, and hopefully this pavement will hold up a lot longer. So what I would like to do is break it up into 2 projects, do basically from at the bottom of the hill all the way to the top of the hill, and this road is gonna last us for the next hopefully 40 or 50 years. We're not gonna have to take it out, or basically we're gonna use this road to the landfill for a long time.
Yeah.
We might pay one.
You might back up to 10 to 15.
Okay, 10 to 15. What I'm saying is we're not taking this road out on the new landfill.
What you're saying is everybody here is gonna be gone.
Yeah. So what I would like to do is just pave from the basically bottom of the hill going up to the landfill, get that paved if we can this year. And then what I want to do around the pits, around the scales, get that done next year. We've got a little bit of drainage, culvert issues we got to fix first. We're doing the force main project, so we'll be doing some construction work down there. So I want to save that for next year and just pave going up the hill this year, if we could.
Is this budgeted?
We have money for the landfill expansion, which would fall into that category.
There's several spots you can go. Yeah.
Are we doing this in-house or maybe?
It depends.
Okay.
That's an internal
It'll take
discussion. We
it.
had a discussion this morning early.
It'll take the road department about 3 days to do that, if we do it.
Maybe, okay.
About half.
About a half day. They can squeeze it in, so if they have a half day or they get
You
done
got
the project
right back.
early.
I'm gonna charge them $1 a ton to lay out.
$13. But that price of 23,000 includes the.
That includes.
Right across the road and
So how many men would you, on this project, would it take for 2 days of county work employees?
About 7 guys.
7 guys, and
Three flag.
their salary
Mine's
versus,
gonna pay.
their salary versus letting Mago do.
I know what I would do, but if you guys would.
Entertain a motion, motion in order.
I make a motion that we proceed with the paving of the landfill access road.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and second. Just discussion, does that include the second phase of it in the spring and summer next year? Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All approved, say aye. Disapprove? The motion will carry.
Thanks, guys. That's all I have.
Okay. Derek's not here this morning. You okay?
He had talked this morning. So at the ballpark, it's starting to wind down for the year, but if you guys get a chance, go out and look at the seal coating. They're now done with it. They're finishing up the striping this morning. Did an excellent job. Bid-Right Paving did it. They were real particular about it. On the crack ceiling, Gary was out there for some of the early stuff going on. Get a chance to drive through. They did a really good job, and that's complete.
They were finishing up some striping, this was striping.
This morning, actually. They
What's
should-
what, I've seen on, there was a big deal about it, they took the cones down, and people walked through it, and they're brand new.
County engineer got a little excited. But that-
We tried to coordinate with everyone about that process and broke it up into different phases. Some people chose to ignore our barricades and drove through it that evening. So we had some strong discussions that night with some people. And we got lucky that they put a chemical in the key to make it dry a little quicker. So when we showed up the next morning, I mean, that night it marked it up, but when it showed up the next morning, it actually ended up being okay. Very unfortunate that people would do that. No, but it is what it is. God forbid somebody's got to walk 1,000 feet to get somewhere. And I'll stop at that.
Jail report.
As of this morning, we had 104 inmates. 43 are state, 61 are county, 77 are waiting on circuit court cases, 27 for district court cases, a total of 88 males and 16 females. And as of Friday, we had 0 cases of COVID.
Good deal.
Well,
Way to go. Good deal.
Anybody questions? Move on to the EMS report.
Your monthly report for September, we responded to 694 calls. 224 of those were non-transport. We're averaging now about 20, almost 21 calls a day for the service, so we're pretty busy. I reported in August that we applied for a grant through the Healthcare Coalition for 2 power cots, $53,000. We were awarded that grant. The cots have been ordered, and we expect those to come in somewhere around the 1st of December. That was in their last budget cycle, which ended in July. And this new budget cycle, we've applied for another ventilator and some mannequin trainers for airway mannequins. So we hope that that'll be fruitful as well.
What battery runs then? Is it a DeWalt battery?
Well, one would think so. It looks just like a DeWalt battery, but it's a $250 Stryker battery that has their name on it and got a couple of little deals with it that you can't buy the DeWalt 20-volt battery to make it.
Imagine that. Sound like good business people to me, whoever.
Pretty good business.
Some ex-EMS guy opened that up.
Joe, I just comment, and maybe I need to look a little closer at each of these runs each month, but it looks like 1/3 of your calls were non-transport. Is that a higher number than usual?
Well, I think that's a little bit deceiving. If you look at the returns to Station 1 there in blue, take that 71 calls out of that 224. And what that is any time that both trucks in Barstown are busy, the outer end, one of those trucks needs to respond.
Okay.
So 71 of those calls are just a truck coming back from the Barstown area. So
Yeah.
the non-transport calls are up still because of the COVID. A lot of it due to the COVID. People want us to come evaluate them, their respiratory problems, and then they don't necessarily want to go to the hospital. So
They just wanted.
You just look, I forgot about that, but you're right.
And do they get charged for that? I've asked that before.
If treatment is given, then there's a no transport charge. If, say, we go to a wreck, somebody's called us to a wreck, nobody's injured, nobody gets charged for those type of things. But if we go into a lift assist, or if it's a diabetic, a lot of diabetics will have a sugar low, or, and we'll treat that, then they get a no transport charge. But most of those folks, once you treat their diabetic problem, they don't want to go to the hospital. They probably should, but for a large part of those.
And that's about $125 or so, isn't it?
$225.
$225. No, I'm behind.
That's what we started out with.
That started out, how many years ago?
How much does it cost for a non-pickup run? How much do you think it costs for you to send 2 people in a
Average cost
truck?
per run for us is $378.
So, okay, we're eating it.
And we do not collect a lot of those calls.
I understand.
It's easy, you know, when you need us, you need us.
Right.
When we're gone, you didn't really need us in the first place.
Got you. Thank you.
The one other item I have, just for more or less media, we're at the time of year when we start doing preventive maintenance on the weather sirens. So as folks may hear, some of those sirens in different areas go off over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll be conducting the maintenance on those.
Questions for Joe? Comments? Under old new business, just to let you know, the roadside cleanup sign-up started yesterday. The state has put dampers on our program a little bit, as they're only allowing us to pay $100 per mile. Ron, I think we were doing double that almost.
Yeah.
It was just to entice people to do it last time.
Why? Why did they do that?
It's because they can.
Really?
They provide the money. They provide the money.
Say it's $100 a mile?
$100 a mile. We've had a few yesterday come in and get
How
it.
long's that run, Dean?
A couple of weeks.
About 2 years?
Yeah.
What's our budget? What are they?
A total annual thing's about 50,000, I think, total 55. It fluctuates a little bit, depends how much tax money the landfill's bringing in around the state. That's where it comes from, the landfill tax that's on there. We submit money and then we get money back. We've been doing, actually, we started that program when we were in the other building before the state even started the program. And we were funding it ourselves.
Good program.
It is a good program.
It's good, but it's, you know, it's successful and unsuccessful. And the reason I say it's unsuccessful is you clean the darn roads, if any of us have ever cleaned those roads, and 2 days later, you see a McDonald's bag thrown out, or a bunch of empty beer cans thrown out, the cigarette wrappers.
3 weeks, about through it.
So-
Chewing them.
I remember when we started this program, you were talking about being successful and unsuccessful. The way I talked at a meeting one time about that was, it's the same as seatbelts. You don't change older people's minds about seatbelts. You change the next generation. And what people who typically go out and pick these roadsides up are young kids, right? Hey, I'm pointing back at myself too. But you know what I mean? So, and getting these young groups to go out, you can ask John, but the comments you get are, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Most young kids, aren't throwing out beer bottles and cigarette butts all the time. So what you hope is, over a long period of time, you get a little smarter about it.
I do remember that discussion.
Yeah. So that was the whole concept behind that. And it helps these young groups out. You know?
So if you don't spend that total budget for what that's allotted for, what?
It goes back to the state.
It goes back.
Last year.
So you couldn't up that amount of money per mile?
We did try to last meeting, but we got.
We did last year.
Yeah.
So.
But the state won't allow you to do that?
They did guidance out of that grant, basically saying we could only do $100 a mile.
And if we submit, we have to submit, not invoices, but a report and
I understand.
And
Okay. All right.
to back it up. Also on my list of old new business, our Feeding America program will be October 27th this month. The next meeting, and Matthew and I have been made aware of this, Barton's and Lux Row distilleries will finish up some of their revenue bonds, and the ordinance will be required. When we get those documents, we'll forward those to the appropriate magistrates. And I want to thank Rhonda, who finalized the county salary survey for CAECO the other day. And hopefully in the next 30 to 60 days, all the counties have it all submitted, and you'll get a report on it.
Good deal.
They do it every 2 years. They started trying to rotate it every 2 years. And just another note of interest to me as a county judge in Clark County passed away. Chris Pace, he was actually an attorney by education and trade due to COVID. He was a young looking.
42 years
I only
old.
met him one time. He's only been in office a couple of years. And very young looking. He's got young kids.
3 young children.
Yeah.
Was he vaccinated?
I don't know.
Don't know. But anyway, that's my report. Anybody have anything else want to bring up? Any questions?
That's where Randy Patrick went, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Randy
he's
Patrick
from
said-
there. He's from
Yeah, he said his
Winchester.
office was right across from his office.
Anybody else have anything from
We
Raymond?
got 2 guys that have been in the hospital, they were out of the hospital, one's back to work on desk duty, which is the detective, and then Sergeant Pinkston is at home resting, trying to get his wind back.
Yeah.
Is it COVID, Sheriff?
Yes.
Was they vaccinated?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Motion to adjourn. After that, I like that.
No, I
Motion been made
further
by
Discussion on that?
Bernard Ice. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jeff Lear. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry. Thank
Now
you.
discussion.
Now discuss it.
Now y'all discuss all you want
Say you
to.
like. Say you like.